everybody. Guess what time it is? It's noon, it's Friday, and it's time for having fun with J and J. Hi, everybody. It is Friday, and we have a special guest today, but I wanted to remind everybody to make sure, watch it, share it, replay it, get to know us, get to love us, because we're lovable, we're amazing.
And modest.
And modest, humble to the
And I know
toes.
people know us already, but I'm Jeanette. That's Jen.
And that is Jeanette over there. Over there. She is currently in Florida now, everybody.
Yep.
But she's still unpacking, she's still moving. So we're trying to get her in between moves. But she's ready to go. And today, I know we do crafters and we love our crafters, but as you know, what we try to do on this show is to get crafters to be able to have successful businesses as a crafter. So it's not all about the product. It's about how you organize, maintain, and manage your business. So today we have with us a special guest. She is on our Evenest platform. She's a trooper, very brave woman. She is Marie Bird.
Us too. That's brave.
I know,
right? Now you tell me.
If you make it through with us, girl, you are ready. You tackle grizzlies, whitewater rafting, a drive through, anything. We're up for anything. But her business is Mind, Money, and Motion. And so we're going to talk with her a little bit. Basically, what we want to work with y'all about is we know that you want to craft, and we know you want to create, and that you have visions of where you want your product to go. However, you got to have money to do it, and you got to have the mindset to do it. You're going to, I think I don't know if it was, Marie probably said this because she's brilliant. You can sit there with a bunch of products and have them in your house, but what are they going to do? They're going to sit there until you get the ability to share them, to sell them, and to get your business going. So don't panic and don't think, oh my God, it's money, I can't talk about it. We got to talk about it, ladies. We got to get you into a position in your mind and in your everyday tasks to do on managing your money, finding ways to expand your business. And it's just a no-brainer. Okay. I will confess right now, I am on the edge of being the worst. Okay. I get chided quite often for not sending out invoices, not managing my money well. I want to create, I want to go, I want to run, I want to do all kinds of stuff, but I don't want to do the money part. And so I am going to commit myself along with you to be able to change that in my behavior. So, Jeanette, it's your turn.
Yes, I am so happy to be here. Okay, so one of the things that I always ask my beautiful people that come on is, how did you start your business? Like one day you woke up and you said, I am going to create Mind, Money, and Motion. How did you do that?
If it were only that easy, huh? I don't know that I shared with you yet that this is actually my second career. I've been doing this over 20 years, but I originally started out as a registered dietitian. Ooh. I was always interested in health and wellness and just having a balanced, healthy life. And now, instead of helping people balance their diet and exercises, I help them balance their finances. And truly, it's all about behavior and mindset. Jen, you mentioned that. So I was in the health and wellness side of things and doing a lot of individual consulting, et cetera, et cetera. And eventually I had a business minor you know, you kind of look around and say, okay, I've had 4 unpaid maternity leaves. Fortunately, I had a spouse that had all of those things. No paid vacation, and I can't keep going like this.
Right.
So I got a job at the local bank as an assistant to an advisor. And from there, it just kind of mushroomed. Now I'm a certified financial planner. I've been helping folks for, like I said, over 20 years. And I think even as a kid, probably what really drove me into this line of work is watching my grandmothers become widows.
Yes.
I heard about one because it happened to her when she was way younger. I wouldn't have seen that. In her 30s, she lost her husband. My other grandmother was 57. You know, the average age of a widow in the United States is 58.
Oh my
So
God. I'm
that
58.
whole, yeah, sorry, but that's
Really?
the average. But what that taught me was to see how they worked through that and realize that the statistic is that 90% of all women will eventually be left solely in charge of their household finances. So it's like this wake up call to say that if it's not in your lap now, it will be. So we need to help women get comfortable with their money life, period. And that's really where Mind, Money, Motion came from. It's my dietitian years, health, got to keep your mind and your body healthy. But that whole money side is a tool to help you balance and get to that happiness. So the mindset is key. And I'm glad we're going to hopefully emphasize that a little bit today.
That's amazing. I did not realize that that was the average age. That's like,
I didn't know that either.
that's not old. I mean, at all.
No. We think of elderly grandmothers, right, as widows.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I think in today's time, though, I think that was more like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say that my mother, being of that era, because she would have been like 70 something. I think the women in the past were more subject to be left like doing everything when their husbands die, or not prepared.
Oh, yes.
Women, because today's women, like myself, I'm retired, so I handle everything. So it is different. Is there a difference because of the change in times?
It's evolved. I mean, I think that's definitely how it was generationally before. And we call that, there's research on this. We call that the driver and passenger couple. The husband was the driver, the wife was the passenger, and he knew everything, took care of everything financial. And she, and my parents were exactly this. She usually was thrilled to not have to deal with that money stuff, right?
Right.
So today, for a lot of reasons, and Jeanette, you named one, it's kind of who's home and has more time sometimes as to which departments we take on as a couple. Mm-hmm. There's the driver and passenger, but then there's also the joined at the hip. You talk about everything financial, but and you even make decisions together, but there's still one doer. A lot of times because they have more time or they're home and the spouse is on the road or whatever. Mm-hmm. So joined at the hip is safer for the spouse in the end, who has to do all of it because they're used to at least being aware. And then the best category actually is what the research found called the divide and conquer couple. You both know about it, talk about financial decisions, make them together, and then you split the duties. Maybe he does all the banking and you do all the investments and insurance, just as an example. Mm-hmm. So I do workshops on that, and I have driver women coming. I have joined at the hip women coming. I have divide and conquer rarely coming. It's usually the driver worried that her husband is the passenger and what's he going to do when she's gone? Or passenger women saying, I know I need to know more. I want to at least get to the joined at the hip couple category. Mm-hmm. So just being aware of where you are starts.
I was going to say that I didn't think there was too many couples that actually split the duties. They may split the information, right? In a military, from a military standpoint, whoever's not serving as the person, which it's probably 70-30. 70% of them are men. The women, military women, the spouses know everything. They know socials. They know where everything's at. But in civilian life, I don't see two people sharing those duties too much.
Mhm.
Yeah. See, I'm in the boat. I'm the one. I'm the military, so I handle all the big stuff, and he handles all the small stuff. And we still conquer. But I know that I'm the majority. I worry if anything should happen to me, I'm a worry about him because
Mhm.
he doesn't know how I do things because he's never here. He's working, and I'm the one that's paying everything, and he doesn't even know how to pay my car note. Doesn't know how to pay rent. He would be
That's
lost.
not uncommon. Yeah.
He would
So,
be lost.
do you put them both? Like my husband's the same way. He would rather not do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that he can't.
Yeah.
It's that he would rather not.
Mhm.
And so I still make him do his stuff, like for his car and stuff himself. But do you bring them together in like a therapy thing? Like, does one person come to you and then you say, well, I think you got to kind of bring this other with you? Do you ever say that to them? Like, drag him here. I don't care.
So my other business, Focus Point Planning, is actual financial planning with couples, and I will not work with them unless they're both involved in our conversation.
Okay.
But for education purposes, which is my Mind, Money, Motion business, is financial wellness education for women only. And so I'm talking to the women.
Okay.
And sometimes there's only so much you can do. You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So if you're the driver and he's going to remain a passenger, you just have to, Jeanette, plan accordingly, although it sounds like he's already accustomed to doing some things.
Yeah, I already have even my will and everything set up. I even got a POA, a power of attorney, that if anything should happen to me, they know exactly. Even my kids know where exactly all my documents are. I tell them the brown trunk, the brown trunk. Just look for the brown trunk, So I tell them like that, and my kids they don't want to talk about it. They don't, Mom. If you something, I don't want to. I'm like, oh please, you got to talk about it. Come on,
That's the reason most people don't do that stuff. They think they're going to jinx themselves. If I buy life insurance, I'm going to die. If I do a will, I'm going to die. Guess what? You're going to die. So do it the nice way for your family.
I just learned that too. And they say right now because you're gonna die anyway, so you might as well go ahead.
It's not a fun subject, but it is important.
So we were talking about yesterday, and you came and you have this thing that you send to people. What is that again? You were talking about it, and it was so good, and I like the theory behind it. We talked about it yesterday so much. I can't even pronounce the word.
Oh. The test.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Enneagram.
See, I can't say
Yes.
that.
Yes. And I should spell it because it's hard to really hear what it is. And this is me not being an expert, but I'm going through this myself and seeing the value of understanding yourself, which is also understanding your money personality.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Enneagram, ENNEAGRAM.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, if people have heard of Myers-Briggs or the Colby assessment, kind of a personality test, kind of, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And the Enneagram Institute helps you take this test. It's $15 or $20. So you can figure out really what your personality is like, and more so why. How did you get to who you are today? And just like your money personality, it all goes back to childhood.
Mm-hmm.
How you grew up, what environment you grew up in. Remember, we're sponges until we're about 7 or 8 years old. And literally, this is a brain thing. You just absorbed it all. Absorb everything you heard, saw, felt, experienced. You had no ability. Our brain has no ability up to past age 8 to filter that, to say, oh, that was bad. Yeah, that was dysfunctional. I am never going to do that. There is none of that capability. So you just are absorbing it all, which is why I feel most women I talk to feel guilty that they don't either have more comfort with money or feel like they should know more than they know. And my thing is, time out. First of all, where are we ever taught any of this? Our country does not do a horrible job. They do no job of educating us about finances.
Yes.
And secondly, you had no control over your childhood. And I'm not blaming parents. I'm just raising the awareness that whatever the circumstances were,
Mm-hmm.
it imprinted you, Kind of like, you know, the
Yes.
duckling following its mama.
And you're 100% right. I remember the day my mother, and I'm glad we're bringing Mother's Day because Mother's Day is coming up.
Yay!
So that's why I think I'm bringing up my mother a lot. She passed away, unfortunately, in the year 2000. So, but I love her memories because I remember she had a problem with shaking in her hands. And she said, Jeanette, come here. I'm going to teach you how to write a check. And she taught me how to write a check. And I remember, like, the young today are saying, what's a check? You know, everything today is debit, you know. But, you know.
Or a radio, yeah.
I know, right?
I know, right?
Or a phone book.
I know, forget it.
The thing is, you know, I'll bring all of this together. You'll see how it comes into today's time. But my mother taught me how to write a check. So every month she would say, Janecita, sit in the table and I want you to write these bills out. And I said, okay. And she taught me how to do it, write them out. The signature was very important. So she taught me how to write my name in script at the age of 6 years old.
Woo.
I was 6 years old. And I was like, it made me feel very special. Like I can write checks and I want a purse. I wanted makeup. I wanted $1 in my bag with a quarter because I was big and grown at 6 years old. Okay. Now, as I taught this, my mother taught this to me. Guess what I did with my daughter and my son? I did the same thing.
Sure.
And this is why I get mad. And I was a teacher for 19 years in the system as well. And I was livid when they cut off the penmanship.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I had to teach my daughter and my son how to sign their name. And I remember my son giving me a fit. Why I need this for? You know, and it's because you're gonna need to sign your check when you get paid. Oh, okay. You know,
there you go. Many talks.
So this is what I'm saying. What I got, I taught. Mm-hmm. You see, I agree with you 100%. Mm-hmm. So, okay, we know the money part and the mind part. So you have mind, money, and what was the other word?
Emotion.
So where does the emotion come in?
The motion is kind of twofold. It's reminding us to keep our bodies active because my whole thing is the more you take care of your mind and your body, the less you have to worry about running out of money because good health costs less. Mm-hmm. That's not the only reason we do it, but you can enjoy life more. So the motion of staying physically active, but also keeping your mind physically active. So it's all intertwined. Mm-hmm. But it's the active. Keep yourself active and always trying to move forward with.
Well, I think that the old notion of retiring. Mm-hmm. I know we're all just amazing women, but I'm going to say we're mature, but all of us have things that will keep us going. You know, I'm never going to retire unless they pin me down. I think once I go in the afterlife and I'm going to get hopefully somewhere to heaven, I'm going to be, you know, talking to the Lord about, I know I can make a business for you. I know you know, I know I got a job for you. So I think, you know, the idea of retiring, you may retire from your old position, like you were doing something before, and then they say, well, you're too old. You can't go do anything else. Or, you know, one thing leads to another, and you've got to stay active. And that will help your physical, because I've seen it so many times when people, quote, retire and they're sitting around and they're watching TV and they're not doing anything. Mm-hmm. And it ages you like before your time.
And that's why I'm so glad, Jenny, when you approached me, because getting there, I was like, I did my business and I am retired from the military. I am retired from a teacher. I am living that retirement life 10 years before it's supposed to happen. So I'm happy, but at the same time, it's like, now what? So now
you may be retired from that career, but you're not retired from life.
That's right. And I have to be busy, because in my mind, I've seen so many people who in the military that, you know, unfortunately, that's all they know, full-time, 30, 40 years in the military, and they don't know anything else, and they're afraid to retire because what now? And that's where we have to come in and be talking to them and say, you have all this life now, you can relax and do this, but they don't want to. They still stay busy. They gotta stay
Right.
busy.
And I think too with women, you work mostly with womenry. Is
Mm,
that
In
men.
financial planning, it's couples and eventually women, just
women?
because of that
Yeah.
statistic. 80% of men die married, 80% of women die single. So that whole widow and divorce thing. And divorce, 60% of marriages end in divorce, 70% of second marriages end in divorce. And then it's more than that for the third and beyond. So that whole being single at some point is so highly likely for all of us for a gazillion reasons.
And women traditionally live longer than men.
On top of it, yep.
And so,
But,
they're, go ahead.
the whole, you're talking about retirement. They call it the new retirementality.
Oh,
We keep a focus on a purpose and a passion for something, so that if it's a job, or I'm a big fan of being self-employed, like your crafters, you're doing either a side gig or that is your gig. And whatever is next, if it's a version of that, to always be focusing forward on follow your passions. Don't do it if you're not loving it in some way, shape, or form. So hopefully you think about, why am I doing this? And then shifting and pivoting as you go. The other statistic that's interesting is the retirement. Most people have an age in mind. I'm going to retire at. Majority of Americans end up retiring 3 to 5 years sooner than that age they had in mind, for a variety of reasons. Caregiving, the economy, jobs, you name it. It does not usually happen when you think it will. So always be thinking of your passion and your purpose and what's next whenever that new adventure comes.
What do you say to people that are still working even after retirement? What do you think their mindset is like, and why they keep working? Well, besides the fact that we have to now with the economy going the way it is, but what is like their mindset to, like, I'm retired, but I'm gonna go work part-time at Dollar General or something like that?
Yep, I think it's definitely purpose and passion, and if it's not financial, or maybe a combination thereof. Most people are social, whether they realize it or not, and isolation is a huge risk of bad health eventually. So to stay involved in some capacity, whether it's volunteering or working, is really a healthy choice.
Okay, that's great.
Don't you feel that if the women have their money mind together, and they, at least, no one's going to be 100% perfect, but if they have a really good grasp of what they need to do, how they're reacting to money, how they deal with money, that will add to their confidence in doing their own business and launching a business, as opposed to someone who's just going to start with a product or an idea or a craft and then have to figure out along the way. Do you feel that's a
Yes.
confidence builder, obviously, or no?
Confidence is everything. Jenna, you gave the example of feeling so confident even as you were 6 years old because you were learning and doing something. So the more you can become comfortable and boost your confidence with money in general, and start by understanding, we talked about those types of couples and the childhood thing. Where did I come from? And what kinds of relationships have I been in? I've had women who tell me they've been in all three categories before in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
So recognizing that you can't feel guilty. This is where you are today because of those other things. So focusing forward, you have to do whatever your circumstances require. You need to get comfortable. And the more you do some of those financial decision-making and actions, the more confidence you'll have.
Jeanette, you were going to say something. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I was thinking about, where do you see yourself, like, with this company that you have? What's your dream and your focus, and what would you suggest other people that have that want to go ahead and get connected with you? How do they get connected with you, and where do they find you, and all that information, all that good stuff that we need.
Great. Thanks for asking. My website is my business name, and it's in alphabetical order. That's like the only way I remembered it initially myself. mindmoneymotion.com. And my goal is to reach women to raise their level of comfort and confidence with money in general. I'm not even getting specific about, wise decision making, insurance, tax planning, et cetera, et cetera. It's, you have to start with getting comfortable and understanding what you have. So all of my tools, I have books, podcasts, videos. I came out with a whole life event series of checklists, downloadable checklists, trying to help you see where you are DIY. And then that should lead you to where do I need to go next, or what gaps do I have? So check out my website, I think is the best advice. There's a contact on there. You can reach me. My email is Marie@Mind Money Motion. Pretty simple. But my goal would be to somehow reach so many more women, because we all need this at some point. I used to do widow and divorce retreats. And at the end of every day, these women would say, every woman needs this. This is not just for those of us in these two categories. Every woman needs this information. So that's my soapbox. Less worry, more life. That's my goal.
You can also find her at www.evenisshops.com, because she's one of our businesses there. And again, it's like so important what you just said. And women have to start embracing this as another tool in their whole repertoire of what they're doing with their business.
Absolutely.
Even if you're just a small, it could be a young woman who's starting a little crochet shop, right? And you got to know the difference between this and this. But if you don't have your mind right with how you deal with money, it's going to be difficult.
Yes.
So we're bringing you people like Marie who can help you. All of our people are people that are available. They're not going to gouge you. They're not going to, take you on that big ticket item. We're all here to help you with your businesses and make sure that you get as much information and as much outreach help that you need. So we're building on this. And Marie, you are just an amazing guest. I mean, you just know your stuff. Love it.
Yes.
Like,
and we never planned the word of the day, and today is incredible how it matches with you. It's just
it happens.
It's crazy, and it happens. And today is be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. And isn't that the typical crafting thing that we're always like, I'm scared to make this move. I don't know if it will happen. But he himself tells you in the word that don't be afraid. I'm with you. Don't be discouraged. I'm there. Don't be strong and courageous and go for it.
Amen.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. I think too that people, well, not people, but we're going to talk women because this is for everybody. But women always have to check themselves. We're dealing with fear, with guilt. Sometimes being alone, you can be in a room full of people and be alone. Friends don't always agree with what you're doing. Some people may think that, she's just, playing. But you know what? When we were kids, that's how we learned life, because we played. And so you got to play and you got to figure it out.
And it wasn't with one of these, like.
I know. You couldn't Google it. It was out there. My childhood was just really different. And I know that's why I have money issues, because I didn't have all that. I was a book person and I read a lot. I was by myself a lot. And I married young. But all of you women out there, no matter what your circumstance, you can learn something from Marie. What she teaches. She has the great downloadable things. Say
and
that.
Freebies. I have freebies. Lots of freebies.
Downloadables.
And I will put her information at the, like I always do.
At the end of it. So we'll have it. And also put the test thing is really important, because you can find out what your innermost angst is.
Enneagram. Yes.
And so that will help. And I think maybe we should do it, Jeanette, and then bring Bree back on and tell her what happened.
I did. I found it this morning and I saw it and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna do it. It's only okay. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it after the show. I'm gonna go ahead and do it and just figure it out. I want to do it. I want to do it because I believe in that stuff. Let me explain why. My counselor in high school did the Myers-Briggs on me, and it told me I was going to be a teacher, counselor, and a stewardess. I said, well, I was too short for a stewardess, but I became the teacher counselor. So I was like, okay, so, and I took it again, and the Army came out the same thing. So that Myers-Briggs is no joke. And if this is like Myers-Briggs, I'm definitely going to take. I want to see what my money mindset is.
Yep.
All right.
Research.
So Marie, will you come back and analyze?
Yes, that would be great. You'll take it, and then she comes back and she says, "This is what." That'll be a great. Yeah, we'll do a follow up. So this is only
do a follow up on that.
In part 2.
Okay, guys. I know a half hour is not enough. I understand. When we have a guest like this, we just want to like pick her brain and get all the good nuggets, the little nuggets we can get out of this. But please check out Marie, her website, all of her social media, our website, even and look her up, see what she can do. We're going to have her on again. And we just want to thank you so much for putting up with us.
Yeah,
okay?
I know. Okay, right. So here we go. You got the control.
All right, I got it. Okay, guys, keep your fingers crossed because now I'm nervous. Now you're making me nervous. Okay. Bye, everybody.